Sometime last year, browsing the store late at night, and I decided to try Nine Souls, a 2D Sekiro. I should have known starting Nine Souls so late at night with no focus was a mistake. It didn't click back then. Over the summer, I gave it another go. New game. I'm so glad I did. Nine Souls is a game with a unique style, its lore is rich, it's beautifully animated, and can beat the brakes off you if you're not ready. We've seen a lot of love go towards challenging games recently, like Hollow Knight Silksong, and it's well deserved. Nine Souls is another game in that genre that should be highlighted. So that's what I'm doing. I'll stay away from the story beats to avoid spoilers, but I would like to go into some of the mechanics and how the game plays. Funnily enough, when Nine Souls was announced in 2022, Hollow Knight was one of its inspirations, among others. Developed by Red Candle Games, devs of Detention and Devotion, both of which are psychological horror, which I had never even heard of, let alone played. So the Hollow Knight Sekiro-inspired Nine Souls was truly a departure from their previous work. Nine Souls is a 2D action platformer with a Metroidvania-style map and loop, and its main combat system centers around parrying and close-range encounters. Let's get more in depth with the combat system, the big draw of Nine Souls. From the beginning of the game, the tutorial gets you accustomed to parrying attacks. Sure, you can avoid attacks, get in, hit, back up, but long term, that ain't gonna work. Nine Souls combat revolves around parrying, and it uses a layered damage system. There are two types of damage, direct and internal. Direct damage is permanent, you lose HP immediately. Internal damage is temporary. It's shown as a dark red color on your health bar, and it will recover if you avoid taking further hits. Yi, the character you play as, and his enemies are both subject to these rules. Normally, if Yi parries an attack, he takes internal damage instead of direct damage, which means he has a chance to recover. If you pull off a precise parry, Yi takes no damage at all, and sometimes even heals depending on your equipment. Every successful parry builds a key charge, which lets you unleash a talisman attack. Yi dashes through the enemy, applying internal damage to them. From there, you can detonate the talisman, instantly converting all of that build-up internal damage to direct damage. This is the fundamental rhythm of combat. Parry to stay alive and build ki, apply talismans to load enemies with internal damage, and detonate when the moment is right to dish out real, permanent damage. This encourages close quarters combat and a stand and fight philosophy. There are fun variants that you can earn either by purchase or in the skill tree that offer different talisman styles and modifiers to the talisman itself. One talisman modifier I used pretty much the whole game was a transmute unto life, where anytime I killed an enemy with the talisman explosion, I would restore some HP. Beyond this combat system, there is very much a competent 2D platformer, with platforming challenges. It has a Metroidvania-style map and Metroidvania-style upgrades. Some obviously are required to progress through the game, and some are optional, but required for the true ending. There are secret bosses, there is a leveling system and a skill tree. A lot of the standard Metroidvania upgrades are here. Double jump, dash, air dash. There's also a more advanced parrying system and deflection mechanics as well. Death in Nine Souls also has real consequences. First, you drop all your currency, which you'll have to retrieve from the spot of your death, and it can be a real pain if you die before getting it back. You also have an XP bar that, when filled, earns you a skill point. If you die before filling the bar, that XP is lost. What can get especially frustrating is sometimes the enemy that killed you will need to be killed in order to retrieve your lost currency and XP, and this could be a mini-boss. Nine Souls follows a hero named Yi, who aims to defeat and overthrow the Nine Souls, who are tyrannical rulers in the New Kunlun realm. I won't get too much into the story to avoid spoilers, but this game is packed with lore. Items often open up dialogue between characters, and open up side quests that you will need for the true ending. The visuals stand out. The art style of the game is hand-drawn. The devs coined it Tau Punk, mixing Eastern fantasy and futuristic cyberpunk. New Kunlun is large, detailed, and immersive. The music adds to the immersion. Some of the boss fight tracks are especially memorable. The game doesn't hold your hand, but it's rarely confusing, unlike Hollow Knight, which I found much easier to get lost in. Hints and markers keep you moving without spoiling exploration. Optional quests or defeating optional bosses are almost always worth it, either with an upgrade or as a requirement for that true ending. Although the combat is considered tough, I felt there was a right balance between challenging enemies and exploration around a level or map. You don't feel like you're hitting the wall with a tough fight every few steps. There is room to breathe when exploring. There are many shortcuts found throughout the level, so after exploring the first time, backtracking is a breeze. Also, when an enemy is defeated, they stay defeated until you rest at a root node. Think of it like a bonfire, or as a bench from Hollow Knight. This is where you can equip Yi with accessories and talismans and access the skill tree. Jades are another equipment item that are found or purchased. Jades offer a range of offensive, defensive, or utility buffs, with some of the most powerful having drawbacks as well. To equip these Jades, you will require computing power. As each Jade costs a certain number of computing units to equip, you can mix and match for whichever challenge you're up against. Usually root nodes aren't too far from bosses, so the run back isn't too bad when you ultimately get your ass kicked. There are maybe a couple of encounters where I felt it was long, although I think it's intended. Nine Souls' story is told through environmental storytelling, logs, database entries, and character dialogue. It's a little complicated to follow. However, the character dialogue between Yi and his companions and the Nine Souls are quite entertaining and make for rich lore with many themes. Betrayal, loyalty, morality. Some could find these themes cliché, but I think it comes together well here. The gameplay itself is very sharp. Controls are responsive. In a game built around perfect timing, combat and enemy encounters are always fair. Bosses feel impossible at first, but their patterns are recognizable, and tight controls mean success is always in your hands. All that's left is to execute. The game throws a lot at you quickly, and skills like Unbounded Counter, which is like a charged parry, can take a lot of time to master, and you will need to be comfortable with it by the end. Not really a negative, but I can see why it didn't click with me when playing it the first time half asleep at 2 a.m., and why it can filter a lot of people. As for replaying it, the game creates a save right before the point of no return, so you don't need to restart a new game for the true ending. Exploration can feel slow at first, before other modes of travel are unlocked. The main bosses in this game all have a unique challenge and strategy that make facing each one different. I played it on PC. The performance was solid. My only minor complaint was the resolution setting kept defaulting back to 16:9 instead of ultra-wide. A small bullshit complaint, but I feel I should mention it. Ultimately, I recommend this game strongly if you're a fan of Metroidvania's challenging combat, and especially if you found the rhythm-like parrying of Sekiro excellent. On a personal note, Sekiro is one of my favorite games of all time, and one of the main reasons why is the power fantasy you earn. Facing a difficult boss, watching them unleash one deadly hit after another, and you're parrying them away, you feel unstoppable. You get that same feeling in Nine Souls. I'm not saying the whole game is on Sekiro's level, but it's one of the most unique Metroidvanias I've played. It's only a year old, but it's still worth playing in 2025, especially if you loved Silksong. If you like deep dives like this and want to see more reviews and breakdowns, consider subscribing. Let me know what you think of Nine Souls in the comments, if you've already played it and I'm late to the party, or if you'll give it a try. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Take care.